Is Vince McMahon set to make a WWE return, and why this would be a terrible WWE decision? And Rey Mysterio, could his inevitable retirement from WWE be pushed off till WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia? Why I think this is not only the right call, but the best thing to do. All this today on episode 1 of Interesting Podcast. Is in the wrestling news this morning as we all find out that WWE could potentially have Vince McMahon make a return. This is a absolutely terrible decision if WWE decides to roll with it. Ever since July 22nd of 2022, Vince McMahon has been retired for what now is about 6 months since his sexual allegations have come out. I don't think he wanted WWE to suffer because of his actions or any role that he had to play in the sexual allegations. Vince McMahon was never good for the future of WWE. I think a lot of people can agree with that and have seen it. And now that Triple H is the head CEO and head of creative, we can feel it in the product every single time that we watch it. And this is not good for WWE. This is not good at all. Vince McMahon was so out of touch with everything that he tried to do. Every superstar that came up from NXT, he never gave them the correct opportunity. All of the feuds that he was booking have just been absolutely terrible. And one of the worst professional wrestling shows that I have ever been to was booked by Vince McMahon. So it's not just from a TV perspective. This is also from an in-person perspective. And everybody on Twitter is really, really going nuts about this because nobody wants him to come back. It is just insane. I do have one tweet that I'm going to read off to you guys. This comes from @TwinDaMogul on Twitter. He reads, and I quote, "Hell no, he needs to stay retired. He lost his way a long time ago, mishandling Bobby, Otis, and Tucker, forcing Roman, firing Bray. The list goes on." End quote. Now, this guy is actually very, very smart because, yes, there was a lot of times where Vince McMahon mishandled a lot of WWE superstars, or he would only push certain WWE superstars like Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns was shoved down our throat for years until he finally became a heel because Vince McMahon wanted him so badly to be a top babyface. But that's not how we viewed Vince McMahon or Roman Reigns at that time. So there was no way for us to actually be able to connect with anything that Vince McMahon was doing. And there's a multitude of wrestlers that he's just gone and just either completely taken advantage of or completely mishandled, like The Fiend Bray Wyatt. Vince McMahon was only interested in The Fiend because of the fact that The Fiend was the top selling wrestler on WWEshop.com. After the Goldberg incident with Bray Wyatt, he was done. He was squashed. And this is exactly what Vince McMahon is going to do if he comes back, is he's going to squash all of the momentum that WWE has been able to build for themselves since July when he decided to retire. If you even just look at the spectrum of the quality of show or the quality of pay-per-views since Vince McMahon has left, it's night and day. One of the worst wrestling pay-per-views that I've ever seen was Stomping Grounds. Now that one was just absolutely horrendous, but it was a mark of what Vince McMahon not only thought was entertaining, but what he thought we would appreciate. And I think everybody is really, really just done with Vince McMahon and the WWE. This would absolutely swing the pendulum back to AEW, and this is something that everybody has been waiting for. We've been waiting for Triple H to come in and do all the things that Vince McMahon wasn't willing to do. And we've seen it, just like with Survivor Series. If Vince McMahon was in WWE with Survivor Series going on, we would have gotten the old 6-on-6 classic Raw versus SmackDown Survivor Series match. But now that Triple H is involved and he's the one who's the head of creator, now we're starting to get more intricate storylines and feuds leading up to a Survivor Series in a War Games. So it actually adds that intensity to it. And that was something that Vince McMahon was never able to get. And I fear that if Vince McMahon comes back, we could just see a huge fall off as far as fan interest. And I do believe that everybody will then, the momentum will swing back to AEW. And that's something that I don't want to see. Not that I dislike AEW or I disagree with them, but WWE needs to fix its tracks. And this could be the worst possible decision WWE could make if they decide to bring back Vince McMahon. Just an absolutely insane thing to think about, and something I really, really do not want to see. The next thing on the list is Rey Mysterio. Could his match at WrestleMania be pushed off to WrestleMania 40? This is something that I not only believe is the correct thing to do, but it's the right thing to do. Because everybody knows that The Rock is rumored to have his retirement match at WrestleMania 39 this next year in Hollywood. Now, whether or not that is for the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship or if it's just a singles match with Roman Reigns, it is almost certain that this match is going to happen. Now, another rumored match would have been Dominic Mysterio versus Rey Mysterio. And if Rey Mysterio lost, then he would have to retire. But here's the problem with that. If you have The Rock retire this next year in Hollywood, it would almost take away from The Rock's retirement being special if you have two WWE legends retiring in the same weekend. It would kind of take away from each other. So I think that we will get The Rock having his retirement match against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 39 in Hollywood. And then during that year, during what's going to be next year's SummerSlam and next year's Survivor Series, going into the Royal Rumble in 2024, that's when we will start to see Dominic Mysterio be more dominant in his own way. Because right now he's running with the Judgment Day. He's being backed by 3 WWE wrestlers that are carrying him to make sure that he can go through his matches and he knows what to do and he's building his character and everything. And I could see Rey Mysterio being just a tad bit nervous about not only wanting to wrestle his son, but whether or not his son will actually be able to benefit from retiring him at WrestleMania, because you don't want it where it is just Rey Mysterio retires and then Dominic Mysterio isn't at the level that he needs to be for Rey Mysterio to put him over. So what I could see WWE doing is we won't have Dominic versus Rey Mysterio this year, but we could have an attack by Dominic Mysterio heading into WrestleMania that injures Rey Mysterio for a number of months. And then we could have it next year around like Survivor Series. We could have, Rey Mysterio on one end and Dominic Mysterio on the other end. And then that could lead into the Royal Rumble where we actually, see Rey Mysterio kind of snap on his son a little bit. And then Dominic Mysterio can eliminate Rey, and then we could start building it towards WrestleMania in Philadelphia. Because again, like I said, The Rock and Rey Mysterio retiring in the same WrestleMania just doesn't make very much sense. And it would actually take away from both wrestlers in like that very, very special moment, because it is a special moment for a WWE legend to have their last match. So I don't think it's going to happen this year at WrestleMania. I think WWE will wait it off and find some other way to have the story where Rey Mysterio gets injured, and then we will have it at WrestleMania 40, which is also a perfect round number because, WWE loves to do things in round numbers. So it would be perfect to see Rey Mysterio retire at WrestleMania 40 and actually reveal his face like a retiring luchador does. So this is going to be very, very interesting to watch, and I will keep you guys updated on whether or not this is going to happen, or WWE will wait until WrestleMania 40. Anyway, you guys, if you guys have enjoyed this video, this is the kind of content you guys like, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you could, give me a like, or even comment down below and tell me what you guys think about whether Vince McMahon is good for the WWE, or if Rey Mysterio will end up retiring this year or not. I will catch you guys later. Thank you guys so very much for joining me right here on Interesting Podcast.